For this quarter's blue chip radar, we outline what we view as a few potential catalysts that can skew market returns either to the upside or to the downside. As a starting point, the Federal Reserve. The Federal Reserve, in a bearish scenario, has outlined that they certainly will do whatever it takes in order to tame inflation. This includes hiking the US economy into a recession. We have seen them take a very aggressive stance, and there is no indication at this point that they will be slowing down anytime this year. On the bullish side, however, we will note that the Federal Reserve has been apt to pivot rather rapidly, despite previous commentary. We're not suggesting that the Federal Reserve will ultimately take an easier monetary policy stance outright, but we do see the potential for them tapering off the aggressive nature of the monetary policy they've exhibited into the middle part of next year. Second, looking at the economy, you can make an either bullish or bearish observation. Overall consumer spending and household net wealth is trending lower, as is the level of consumer spending. On a bullish side here, it's important to note that we're coming off a very high base in both of these elements. So while we have seen some deterioration over the last 2 quarters in overall capitalization of households, I would note that disposable personal income relative to debt service levels is right around average levels based on a 40-plus year history. So this would indicate that consumers are still reasonably well capitalized and have further room to run, which would be supportive. And finally, looking at corporations, on a bear case, there certainly are more macroeconomic pressures than were being experienced just a year ago. Whether it's the foreign exchange rate impact or just a lower level of consumer spending, corporations are feeling the pressure. There is bearish observations that are looking for guide downs across the board in profitability metrics this quarter. But on the bullish side, I would note that we've been looking for these guide downs for the past 2 quarters and have not received them in a very broad way. On the bullish side, we would be looking for corporations to remain dynamic and actively tackling this tighter financial conditions market backdrop with tighter financial controls, and ultimately leaning into their most productive business units and deploying resources in those to remain profitable through these troublesome and more headwind-filled economic times.